The alien research vessel drifted helplessly at the edge of Earth's solar system, its sensitive instruments overwhelmed by the approaching solar storm. The ship's captain, a tall, willowy being with silvery skin, stared in horror at the readings that would spell certain death for his crew. Their homeworld had never prepared them for radiation levels this intense. Emergency broadcast to any nearby vessels. The captain spoke into the ship's communication system, his translator converting his musical language into standard galactic code. This is Research Vessel Dawnlight. We are trapped in a Class 3 solar event. Our shields are failing. The crew of 15, representing some of the finest scientific minds in the Galactic Council, had come to study the impossible. A civilization thriving on what their instruments claimed was a Category 12 death world. No intelligent life should have been able to evolve in such hostile conditions. The gravity alone was crushing by their standards, and the atmospheric pressure would kill most species in the galaxy. Their mission had gone smoothly until the solar storm appeared with barely any warning. Their ships, designed for the gentle conditions of their home systems, weren't built to handle such violence. The captain was about to order the crew into stasis pods when an unfamiliar voice crackled through their communication system. "This is Captain Jack Thompson of the Earth Defense Force vessel Thunderchild. We've picked up your distress signal. Hold tight, we're coming to get you." The aliens watched in disbelief as a bulky, almost primitive-looking ship approached through the storm, where their own sleek vessel used graceful force fields and energy manipulation. This human ship looked like it was designed to simply punch through whatever got in its way. "Impossible," the alien science officer whispered. "The radiation levels would cook any living thing." But the human ship kept coming. It, tall, thick, and scarred, seemed to ignore the solar winds that had crippled their own vessel. As it drew alongside, the aliens got their first look at humans through the viewing ports. Captain Thompson stood in his ship's airlock, wearing what looked to the aliens like incredibly primitive protection gear. No energy shields, no personal force fields, just layers of material they would later learn was called metal and ceramic. "We're going to extend a docking tube." Thompson's voice came through again. "Your ship's readings show your life support is failing. We can evacuate your crew to our vessel until the storm passes." The alien captain hesitated only briefly. Death by radiation or trust these strange Deathworlders. The choice was clear. The docking procedure was rough by their standards, but effective. As the alien crew crossed into the human vessel, they were struck by everything their sensors had told them. The gravity was crushing. The air pressure felt like it would squeeze them flat. Even with their environmental suits, they could feel the difference. "Welcome aboard," Thompson said through their translators. He had removed his helmet, showing them what a human looked like for the first time. The aliens were shocked by how solid he appeared, how dense his form was. He moved with easy confidence in conditions that would kill most species in the galaxy. "Your ship," the alien captain managed to say. "How does it survive these conditions?" Thompson laughed, a sound that made several of the aliens jump. "This old girl, she's built to Earth standards. Has to be, to handle the conditions around our planet. This storm is barely a Category 3. You should see what we deal with during solar maximum." The aliens huddled in the human ship's medical bay, watching in fascination as the crew went about their duties. Everything about them seemed impossible. They ate food that would poison most species. They drank water containing minerals that should have killed them. They walked around in gravity that would crush most alien bones to powder. "Captain," the alien science officer said quietly to his superior, "I think we know why our long-range scans showed artificial satellites around that death world. We weren't detecting a mistake. We were detecting a civilization of beings evolved to survive conditions we thought were impossible." As the storm raged outside, the aliens began to understand that they had stumbled upon something unprecedented in galactic history. These humans weren't just surviving on their death world. They had mastered it, turned its harsh conditions into advantages, and built their technology to match their resilience. What none of them knew, as they watched their human rescuers work, was that this chance encounter would soon lead to the salvation of the entire galaxy. For now, they simply marveled at the impossible beings who had saved them, beings who called the universe's most hostile environment home. 3 months after the solar storm incident, the Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. The massive circular room, usually a place of calm discussion, echoed with the panicked voices of 100 different species. On the main display, another star system vanished into darkness. "The Void Eaters have consumed the Lotus Cluster," announced the council leader, their crystalline form shimmering with distress. "That's the 5th system this month." Commander Emma Stone sat quietly in the human observation pod, specially designed to handle Earth normal gravity and atmosphere. She watched the alien representatives arguing, noting how their different evolutionary backgrounds showed in their reactions. The floating gas-based species simply changed colors in distress. The aquatic species released pheromones that made their water tanks bubble. "The combat fleets have failed," a reptilian counselor announced. "Our weapons pass right through the Void Eaters. It's as if they exist partly in another dimension." Emma checked her data pad, reviewing the reports. The Void Eaters had appeared 6 weeks ago, emerging from deep space. They were unlike anything the galaxy had seen before, creatures that seemed to be made of living darkness, consuming energy at every level, from light to atomic bonds. They turned thriving systems into dead zones where even the laws of physics barely functioned. "Perhaps," said the representative who had been rescued by Captain Thompson, "we should consider asking the humans for help." The chamber fell silent. Every alien turned to look at the human pod. Emma stood up, her movements careful in the low gravity they maintained for the comfort of most species. "The human fleet is small compared to yours," she said, her translator converting her words into sounds each species could understand. "What makes you think we could help?" The rescued scientist stepped forward. "Because you survive conditions that would kill us instantly. Because your ships are built to withstand forces that tear our vessels apart. Because you are Deathworlders, and these Void Eaters are turning our worlds into death zones." Emma nodded slowly. She had expected this moment ever since the first reports of the Void Eaters came in. "Show me the readings from the dead zones," she requested. The main display changed, showing conditions that made most of the council members turn away in horror. Gravity fluctuations that would crush their ships. Radiation that would cook their crews. Temperature extremes that would freeze or boil their atmospheres. Emma smiled. "Those conditions, they're not much worse than a bad day on Earth. The gravity shifts are like what our deep-sea explorers deal with. The radiation. We have cities that handle worse during solar storms. The temperature ranges. We call that spring in some places." The council chamber erupted in murmurs. Emma continued, "But we'll need something from you. Your technology is far ahead of ours in many ways. We need your help to adapt our ships for long-range travel, to upgrade our weapons, to give us the tools to fight these things." "Impossible," shouted one of the counselors. "Giving humans advanced technology. They're barely out of their gravity well. They still burn chemical fuels." The council leader raised an appendage for silence, "and yet they survive conditions that would kill any of us. The Void Eaters create environments we cannot enter. Perhaps we need those who evolved in hell to fight the demons." Emma pulled up an image on the main display. "Earth, their beautiful, terrible homeworld. You call our planet a death world. We call it home. Every day we deal with pressures that would crush you, poisons that would kill you, radiation that would cook you. We built our civilization in conditions you consider impossible. Give us the tools, and we'll show you how Deathworlders fight." The council chambers remained quiet for a long moment. Finally, the leader spoke again. "It is decided. We will form an alliance. The humans will lead the fight against the Void Eaters. All technological restrictions on Earth are lifted, effective immediately." As Emma left the chamber to contact Earth Command, she heard the rescued scientist speaking to another counselor. "They don't just survive on their death world. They love it. And now, That love of the impossible might save us all. She smiled to herself. The aliens were about to learn why humans had thrived on the deadliest known planet in the galaxy. The Void Eaters wouldn't know what hit them. Lieutenant Tom Anderson stood in the training chamber of the newly constructed Human-Alien Combat Academy, watching alien officers try to move in Earth normal gravity. The sight would have been funny if the galaxy wasn't at stake. "Come on, you can do it." He encouraged a bulky alien trying to lift what humans would consider a lightweight. The alien's crystalline structure trembled with effort. "Remember, on your world, this would be impossible. Here, you're already doing the impossible." The academy had been built on an asteroid near Earth, specially designed to simulate different planetary conditions. Today, they were running what the aliens called extreme survival training, and what humans called basic warm-up. "Sir," one of the alien trainees called out, their environmental suit glowing with stress indicators, "how do humans handle this every day?" Tom walked over, his movements easy and natural in a gravity that his students found crushing. "We were born in it, shaped by it. Our bones grew dense, our muscles strong. But that's not what makes us special." He picked up a training weapon. "What makes us special is that we never stop pushing our limits." The main screen showed other training rooms. In one, human instructors taught aliens how to survive in what they considered toxic atmospheres that were cleaner than Earth's cities. In another, aliens learned to handle temperature changes that would be mild by Earth standards. "Lieutenant Anderson," the Academy's AI announced, "the Council observers have arrived for the demonstration." Tom nodded. "Perfect timing. Everyone take 5 minutes in your low-gravity rest chambers. When you come back, we're going to show the Council what we've achieved." As his students gratefully retreated to their comfort zones, Tom prepared the main training arena. The Council members filed into the observation deck, their environmental shields glowing softly. "Today," Tom announced through the translation system, "we're going to demonstrate why Earth tactics will work against the Void Eaters." He gestured to the arena's controls. First, standard Council military training conditions. The arena simulated a typical alien battlefield. Low gravity, stable atmosphere, mild temperatures. The alien observers relaxed, comfortable in these familiar conditions. "Now," Tom said, "conditions from our latest Void Eater encounter." The arena shifted. Gravity fluctuated wildly. The atmosphere became a swirling mess of toxic gases. Temperature zones ranged from near absolute zero to plasma hot. The Council members recoiled, their environmental shields flaring. But then Tom's students entered the arena, wearing the new hybrid suits, Earth survival gear enhanced with alien technology. "Watch," Tom commanded. His students moved through the chaos like they were born to it. They adapted to gravity changes instantly, using moves learned from Earth's deep-sea divers and mountain climbers. They handled temperature shifts with techniques developed in Earth's harshest deserts and coldest poles. They navigated toxic zones using skills learned in Earth's most polluted regions. "Impossible," whispered one Council member. "They're moving like it's normal." "For us, adapting to hell is normal," Tom explained. "Earth taught us that. Now, watch this." He typed in new commands. A hologram of a Void Eater appeared, a writhing mass of darkness that bent reality around it. The students immediately shifted formation. "Standard Council tactics would be to retreat," Tom said. "But we've learned something about the Void Eaters. They create conditions similar to Earth's most extreme environments. And that's where we thrive." The students demonstrated their attack pattern. They used the gravity fluctuations to boost their speed. They turned temperature extremes into weapons. They moved through toxic zones like they were clear air. A hologram Void Eater, programmed with actual battle data, couldn't adapt to their tactics. It couldn't comprehend beings that treated supposedly lethal conditions as advantages. When the demonstration ended, even the most skeptical Council members were silent. Finally, one spoke. "You're not just training them to survive these conditions. You're training them to use these conditions." Tom smiled. Exactly. On Earth, we learned long ago that you either adapt to harsh conditions or you die. We chose to adapt. Then we chose to thrive. Now we're teaching others to do the same. He looked at his tired but proud students. The Void Eaters think they can beat us by making space uninhabitable. But they're about to learn what every threat to humanity has learned. The more hostile the environment, the more dangerous we become. Major Lisa Cooper watched the swirling darkness through her ship's viewport as the Void Eaters consumed another star. The Proxima Centauri system had been chosen for humanity's first major stand against these creatures. It was close to Earth, which meant the human fleet could fight at full strength. All ships report ready, her tactical officer announced. The bridge of the battleship Terra's Fury hummed with energy as the crew prepared for battle. "Show me the alien fleet's position," Lisa ordered. The holographic display lit up, showing the Galactic Council's ships holding position far from the combat zone. Their sensors couldn't even operate this close to the Void Eaters' reality warping field. "They're watching," Lisa said to her crew. "Time to show them how Earth's children fight." The Void Eaters had never faced serious resistance before. They were used to systems going dark as their inhabitants fled. But this time was different. This time, they faced ships built by people who considered crushing gravity, deadly radiation, and extreme temperatures to be normal operating conditions. "Launch the first wave," Lisa commanded. 20 Earth ships moved forward, their hulls gleaming with the new hybrid armor. Earth metals enhanced with alien technology. The ships looked crude compared to the elegant alien vessels, but they were built to take punishment that would destroy any other fleet in the galaxy. The Void Eaters reacted to their approach. The darkness writhed and twisted, sending out tendrils of energy-draining force. The alien observers watched in horror, expecting the human ships to be torn apart. Instead, the ships pushed through. Their engines, designed to work in Earth's punishing gravity well, had power to spare. Their hulls, built to withstand pressures that would crush alien vessels, held firm. "Energy drain at 40%, reported the tactical officer. "Shields holding. All ships report similar status." Lisa smiled. On any other world, losing 40% power would be a disaster. But humans had learned to function with limited resources. They had practiced fighting in conditions that would kill most species. "Launch the swarm," she ordered. From the larger ships, hundreds of smaller craft emerged. They were barely larger than escape pods, each piloted by a single human. The alien observers were confused. Their sensors showed conditions inside the Void Eaters' field that should have killed any living thing instantly. But the pilots were wearing the new combat suits, designed by human engineers using alien tech. More importantly, they were humans who had trained in Earth's most hostile environments. To them, the twisted space around the Void Eaters was just another challenge to overcome. "Swarm units reporting success," the tactical officer announced. "They're identifying weak points in the Void Eater structure." The small craft darted through the darkness like angry wasps, their sensors mapping the Void Eaters' strange anatomy. Each pilot reported from what should have been lethal conditions, their voices calm and professional. "There," Lisa pointed at the display. "They're showing us their heart." In the center of the swirling darkness, something pulsed. The Void Eaters had a core, a central point where they anchored themselves to normal space. It was surrounded by conditions that would instantly kill any alien species in the galaxy. "All ships, full power to engines," Lisa commanded. "Swarm units, clear a path. We're going to show these things what happens when you threaten a species that evolved on a death world." The human fleet moved as one, pushing deeper into the darkness. Ships groaned under forces that would have shattered alien vessels instantly. Power levels dropped to what any other species would consider emergency levels. But the fleet kept moving. The swarm units guided them through the chaos, finding paths where the laws of physics were least broken. And at the heart of the formation, Terra's Fury led the charge. "Fire," Lisa ordered as they reached optimal range. The weapons they fired weren't just human weapons or alien weapons. They were both combined in ways only Deathworlders could imagine. The Void Eaters had never faced anything like them. The darkness screamed. For the first time in galactic history, a Void Eater died. As her crew cheered, Lisa opened a channel to the watching alien fleet. "This is Major Cooper. First objective achieved. We've proven they can be killed. Now, we're going to prove they can be beaten." In the observation ships, the aliens watched in stunned silence. The species they had once dismissed as primitive had just achieved the impossible. The Deathworlders had brought death to the unkillable. Dr. James Wilson stood in his laboratory aboard the International Science Station, watching alien scientists examine human blood samples through their advanced microscopes. Their expressions of shock never got old, even after 3 months of collaboration. "Impossible," muttered one of the alien researchers, their crystalline form shimmering with excitement. "Your cells actively repair radiation damage. They adapt to toxic substances. They strengthen themselves under pressure." James smiled as he adjusted his protective suit. The lab was kept at Earth-normal conditions, which meant his alien colleagues needed special equipment just to survive their working environment. "That's how we survived Earth," he explained. "Our planet tried to kill us so many times that our bodies learned to fight back. Now I think we can use that knowledge to fight the Void Eaters." The main screen showed their latest discovery. Human cells, when exposed to the energy-draining effect of Void Eater tissue samples, didn't die like alien cells. Instead, they adapted, finding new ways to produce energy. "Look here," James pointed to the display. "Our bodies evolved to handle extreme energy shortages. Ice ages, famines, lack of sunlight. Earth threw everything at us. We survived it all." An alien scientist floated closer in their protection bubble. "But how does this help us fight the Void Eaters?" James pulled up another screen showing the hybrid combat suits they were developing. "We're incorporating human biological principles into your technology. See these energy circulation patterns? They're based on how human blood vessels adapt to extreme conditions." The laboratory had become a unique meeting point of two very different approaches to survival. The aliens had developed incredible technology to avoid harsh conditions. Humans had evolved to endure and adapt to them. Together, they were creating something entirely new. "Doctor," called one of his human assistants, "the latest test results are in." The screen changed to show data from their most recent experiment. They had exposed various materials to simulated Void Eater conditions. Most alien materials had failed instantly. Standard Earth materials had lasted longer but eventually broke down. But their new hybrid materials, combining human resilience with alien technology, had survived. "You see," James explained to his alien colleagues, "the Void Eaters create conditions similar to the worst environments on Earth. Extreme pressure, energy drain, radiation. We've been dealing with these things since before we invented the wheel." He walked to another station where they were testing new medical procedures. "Your species developed amazing medical technology, but you focused on avoiding damage. We had to learn how to repair damage because on Earth, damage was unavoidable." The aliens watched in fascination as he demonstrated their latest breakthrough. A treatment that could help their species survive briefly in Earth-like conditions. It was based on how human cells strengthened themselves under stress. "Each victory against the Void Eaters teaches us more," James continued. "Their energy-draining effect is similar to how deep-sea creatures survive in low-energy environments. Their gravity manipulation reminds us of how life adapts to different pressures in Earth's oceans." An alarm beeped, signaling another successful test. The aliens crowded around the display, their protective fields bumping into each other in their excitement. "We've done it," James announced. "The new cellular reinforcement treatment works. It will let your ship's crews survive closer to Void Eater territory." One of the alien scientists turned to him. "When we first discovered Earth, we thought it was a mistake. No intelligent life could evolve in such horrible conditions. Now we understand. Those conditions made you strong enough to save us all." James looked at the test results with pride. Humanity's greatest weakness, their harsh homeworld, had become their greatest strength. And now they were sharing that strength with the galaxy. The Void Eaters think they can win by making space uninhabitable, he said, but they're fighting a species that thrived in conditions they can't imagine. We're not just survivors of a death world. We're its children, and we're teaching the galaxy how to be strong. As his alien colleagues began preparing the next round of tests, James smiled. The galaxy was learning that sometimes the most precious knowledge comes from the harshest places, and that those who survive the impossible can teach others to do the same. Admiral Robert Hayes stood on the bridge of the flagship Earth's Hope, watching the largest fleet in human history prepare for battle. 5,000 ships surrounded him, a mix of human vessels and modified alien craft. They had gathered at the edge of the galaxy's core, where the Void Eaters had established their main spawning grounds. "All ships report ready," his communications officer announced. "The alien support fleet is holding position at safe distance." Robert nodded, his expression grim. The plan they had developed was dangerous. But as a species that evolved on Earth, humans understood that sometimes survival required taking impossible risks. "Send the message to all ships," he ordered. "Operation Earthborn begins now." The fleet moved forward as one, their hybrid drives glowing with combined human and alien technology. The void ahead of them churned with darkness as thousands of Void Eaters sensed their approach. "Enemy response exactly as predicted," reported his tactical officer. "They're creating a death zone around their spawning grounds." The space around them transformed. Gravity waves that would crush normal ships rolled out. Radiation levels soared beyond what most species considered survivable. The temperature dropped to near absolute zero, then shot up to plasma-hot levels. But this fleet was ready. Every ship was equipped with systems based on how life on Earth adapted to extreme conditions. Their hulls flexed like the shells of deep-sea creatures. Their energy systems adapted like human cells dealing with resource shortages. "First wave, engage the enemy," Robert commanded. "Show them what Earth taught us about fighting in hell." The battle erupted across space. Human ships dove into conditions that alien vessels couldn't even approach. They had learned from their previous victories, understanding that what the Void Eaters used as weapons were just conditions humans had evolved to survive. "Admiral," called his science officer, "we're detecting the spawning grounds location. It's inside a pocket of space where normal physics barely function." Robert smiled. "Just like the deep ocean trenches back home. Launch the boarding teams." From the larger ships, hundreds of small craft emerged. Each carried a team of human soldiers in specially designed suits. These weren't just combat suits. They were survival suits based on 4 billion years of Earth life adapting to impossible conditions. "Boarding teams away," reported the operations officer. "They're entering the dead zone." Inside his command center, Robert watched the feed from the boarding teams. The soldiers moved through twisted space like they were born to it. Where alien species would have died instantly, humans pressed forward. "Sir," one team leader reported, "we've reached the outer layer of the spawning grounds. This place, it's like all of Earth's most hostile environments combined." "Then we'll feel right at home," Robert replied. "Proceed with the plan." The teams planted devices throughout the spawning grounds, technology that combined human understanding of survival with alien engineering. Each device was designed to do one thing: make the spawning grounds even more hostile than the Void Eaters could handle. "All teams report devices planted," announced the operations officer. "Awaiting your command." Robert took a deep breath. "Send the signal. Let's show these creatures what real environmental extremes look like." The devices activated. They didn't try to make the space more habitable. They did the opposite. They pushed the conditions beyond even what the Void Eaters could survive, using principles learned from Earth's most extreme environments. The darkness began to writhe and twist. For the first time, the Void Eaters experienced conditions they couldn't adapt to. They had never encountered a species that understood hostile environments better than they did. "It's working," shouted the science officer. "The spawning grounds are collapsing." Robert watched as the Void Eaters began to die, overwhelmed by conditions that reminded him of Earth's worst natural disasters. Their darkness flickered and faded as space itself became too hostile for them to exist. "Send word to the alien fleet," he ordered. "Tell them that humanity has done what we do best. We've survived the impossible, and we've taught destruction itself what it means to face a species born in hell." As the spawning grounds collapsed and the Void Eaters died, Robert thought about Earth, their beautiful, terrible homeworld. It had prepared them for this moment, teaching them that the harshest conditions bred the strongest survivors. The final battle wasn't won with superior weapons or advanced technology. It was won because humans understood something the Void Eaters didn't. True strength comes from adapting to hell, not creating it. 1 year after the destruction of the Void Eater spawning grounds, Earth had changed. The once isolated Deathworld had become the galaxy's most important training center. Alien ships filled the skies, their crews coming to learn the secrets of survival from humanity. Captain Jack Thompson, the same man who had made first contact by saving an alien research vessel, now stood before a class of alien military officers. Through the reinforced windows of the training facility, they could see the harsh Australian outback stretching to the horizon. "Today," he announced to his environment-suited students, "you're going to experience Earth gravity and atmosphere for the first time. Thanks to the treatments developed by Dr. Wilson's team, you can now survive it for short periods." The aliens moved nervously in their modified suits. One raised an appendage. "Captain, why is this necessary? The Void Eaters are gone." Jack smiled. "Because they might not be the last threat we face. The galaxy needs to be stronger. That's why you're here." In orbit above them, Commander Emma Stone led a tour of Earth's new defensive fleet. Alien engineers marveled at how humans had combined their survival-focused technology with alien advancements. "Your ships are beautiful," an alien admiral admitted, their crystalline form glowing with appreciation. "We thought our vessels were perfect because they avoided all environmental stress. You taught us that strength comes from embracing stress and adapting to it." In his laboratory at the International Science Station, Dr. James Wilson worked with alien scientists who now viewed Earth's harsh conditions as an advantage rather than a handicap. They studied how Earth life adapted to everything from crushing pressures to deadly radiation. "The Void Eaters showed us that the galaxy needed to change," James explained to a group of visiting council members. "You can't always avoid harsh conditions. Sometimes you have to learn to thrive in them." Lieutenant Tom Anderson, now promoted to colonel, supervised construction of new training facilities around the world. Each one was designed to teach alien species how to survive in different Earth environments. "The desert teaches endurance," he told his alien construction team. "The oceans teach adaptation to pressure. The poles teach survival in extremes. Earth is the perfect training ground because it's already tried to kill us in every way possible." Major Lisa Cooper, who had led the first successful battle against the Void Eaters, now commanded the new Galactic Defense Academy. Her students came from 1,000 worlds, each learning how humanity had turned environmental challenges into strategic advantages. "Before the war," she told her class, "the galaxy feared Deathworld conditions. Now we understand that facing these conditions makes us stronger. Every graduate of this academy will take that lesson back to their homeworld." In the Galactic Council chamber, now relocated to a station orbiting Earth, Admiral Hayes addressed the assembled representatives. The chamber itself was designed to accommodate both standard alien environments and Earth conditions, a symbol of the new cooperation between species. "1 year ago," he said, "you called us primitive because we came from a death world. Now you understand that surviving on a death world made us strong enough to save everyone. But we're not just teaching you how to survive. We're learning from you too." He gestured to the window, where Earth shone blue and beautiful below them. "Your technology helps us explore the stars. Your science helps us understand the universe. Together, we're creating a stronger galaxy." The council leader, their crystalline form now enhanced with Earth-inspired adaptations, spoke. When we first discovered Earth, we thought no intelligent life could evolve in such conditions. We were wrong. Those conditions created the very strength we needed. The Deathworlders didn't just save us. They taught us how to save ourselves. As the galaxy rebuilt and grew stronger, Earth remained at its heart. The planet that aliens had once feared became a symbol of hope. Its harsh conditions, once seen as a curse, were now recognized as the forge that had created humanity's greatest strength, the ability to adapt and thrive in the face of impossible odds. The story of how Deathworlders saved the galaxy became legend, taught on every world. But more important than the victory itself was the lesson it taught. True strength doesn't come from avoiding challenges, but from facing them and growing stronger in the process. Earth's children had shown the galaxy that sometimes the harshest beginning leads to the strongest future. And in doing so, they had transformed from feared primitives into respected teachers, showing every species that they too could learn to thrive in the face of adversity.